Can the closed-back Sennheiser HD620S wired headphones offer a more private listening experience and still live up to the lofty legacy of its open-back lineage? Let's find out. The Sennheiser HD600 series is one of the most iconic headphone lines in history, beloved for its distinct sonic character. These headphones deliver a potent mixture of timbre, depth, and detail. They are also famously very open-back, allowing air and sound to move freely in and out. This legendary lineage can be traced back over 4 decades, but so far, Sennheiser has yet to really nail a marquee closed-back headphone in the series. They set out to change all that with the HD620S wired closed-back headphones. Did they succeed? In some ways, I'd say emphatically yes. In other ways, well, it might depend on what you expect from a Sennheiser headphone.
Let's build a closed-back headphone that sounds both natural and very brilliant. So the brilliance was really the key thing, even over naturalness, because there I actually thought if you are good at EQing, then you can at least sort of remove the kinks it may have, but brilliance you cannot dial in or out. So that is what I really wanted to have in there, and that was from the beginning sort of the guiding light.
That's Jermo Koehnke, who was the head of Sennheiser's audiophile division during the development of the HD620S. From his office in Germany, he explained to me that the goal was to finally make a closed-back headphone that felt truly of the HD600 series, but that you could listen to at work or in public without disturbing others. Let me acknowledge right off the bat that I know I'm speaking to 2 different audiences. Those who know the Sennheiser 600 series well and are curious how these headphones fit into the line, and those who are just looking for a nice set of wired closebacks. Since Sennheiser themselves use the 600 series as their inspiration, I think it's a good frame of reference. But I'll try to give you clear impressions and guidance, regardless of how familiar you are with the rest of the series. The actual design of the 620S is the most obvious departure from its open-back siblings. In fact, these use almost the same frame and build as the HD560S. It's interesting because they also deliver a wider sonic presentation that feels more HD560S than the intimate sound you get from, say, the HD660S too. More on that later. These are straightforward wired headphones that connect via the tried and true mini plug. There's also a 1/4-inch adapter, so you have some options when connecting to a DAC or headphone amp. And I highly recommend connecting to an amp. To be clear, you can plug these headphones into a laptop, phone, or dongle, and you'll still hear sound. But high-performance drivers like the ones Sennheiser uses here are like tiny speakers. More robust power generally means better dynamics, better clarity, and deeper bass. At 150 ohms, these headphones are more efficient than past 600 series headphones, but they still require extra power to perform their best. I primarily listen through a stack of desktop hi-fi audio gear here at work, but I also had good results on the go connecting the hi-fi Go bar to my laptop. The 620S headphones fit snugly and securely, keeping the drivers properly aligned with your ears. They feel heavier than other 600 series headphones, but the weight is distributed well. They are generously padded all over, but especially where the headband meets the crown of your head. The ear pads are made of a soft, synthetic leather instead of the velour that you find in the other 600 series headphones. Sennheiser's dynamic drivers are made up of high-grade 38mm soft diaphragms, ultra-lightweight voice coils, and an advanced damping system. Inside each ear cup, there's a steel frame that traces along the outer lining. It's there to protect the drivers, but it also acts as a baffle to curb internal reflections and unwanted resonances, while giving those drivers some space to breathe. And that space is key to the performance. Space around the driver is a luxury that headphone makers, including Sennheiser, just don't have with wireless noise-canceling headphones, where they have to pack all kinds of circuitry into the ear cups.
So that's also something interesting that, for instance, the Momentum 4 also has a very high-performance transducer in there, but the acoustic system is very closed down to be optimized for ANC. Mm-hmm. And if you compare it with an HD620S, which has a transducer of, let's say, it is of a similar family, the 620S transducer is, of course, a bit more capable, But if you compare them in terms of soundstage and how detailed it sounds, I think it's sort of a night and day difference. Even though the Momentum 4 is good for an ANC headphone, people underestimate just how much the acoustic environment, so the openness, does for the detailed sound in the end.
The extra space also allowed Sennheiser to position the drivers at an extreme angle. This gives them better control over how the sound hits your ears. That helps with both timing and sense of direction. It also spreads the sound field outside the head way off to the left and right. The soundstage extends much further than the HD660S too. It might sound counterintuitive, but the Openback 600 series headphones are well known for their immediate forward staging sound presentation. That's a major sonic difference, which could be a positive depending on what you prefer. Most closed-back headphones sound rather claustrophobic or between the ears. While these headphones are not only more spacious, they also offer quite a bit of depth and layering. And that's a key trait that they share in common with their HD600 series family. Sennheiser tuned them for a noticeable emphasis on the highs and lows, with a mid-range that's more laid back. This can present itself in different ways when it comes to certain vocals. Singers with deep or chesty vocals come across like they're further away, recessed back in the mix. Meanwhile, the transients really jump out, bringing some of the micro details out to the forefront in a way that you don't often hear. Some of that you have to chalk up to the give and take of a closed-back headphone design. Standing sound waves, reflection, sudden spikes and dips, these are all inherent challenges introduced by the sealed-back chambers. Sennheiser also tuned for what they call brilliance and extended the presentation. To my ears, that's occasionally at the expense of certain vocals. Songs from Beyoncé's country album came through differently than they do on the radio when I'm driving my kids to school. Acoustic guitar chord changes and violin flicks and strums just leap out with urgent presence, but it would sometimes drown out her voice, even when she belted out at her most powerfully. Talking to Jermo, part of this was by design, and the result of going with their instincts and ears over strict measurements. And when it works, it really works. On instrumental tracks, that extra snap, sparkle, and punch seem to dance around the large soundstage. Trent Reznor's crunchy percussive track Brutalizer off the Challenger soundtrack has a synthy, atmospheric vibe with lots of movement and panning left to right. And it just becomes all the more kinetic and vibrant when you can better pinpoint and localize the sound placement. And what are some other closed-backed options to compare them to? They feel like they're better built than the Audio-Technica ATH MSR7 and also feel more comfortable in my head. The Audio-Technicas are more efficient and easier to drive, but I'd suggest using an amp with either of these two headphones, so I wouldn't necessarily base my decision on that. Sonically, they're both well tuned, but it's two very different presentations, so it really comes down to your preference. The ATH MSR7 has a much smaller soundstage that's focused between the ears. The mid-range is also more forward, and the vocals kind of jump from the center, when as mentioned, they can be a little bit more subdued through the HD620S. The Meze 99 Classics hold the title of Crutchfield's most comfortable headphones based on our in-house testing. Their spring suspension system offers a more relaxed fit. But the HD600 series also ranked high in our testing, and comfort is subjective. I know that there's plenty of people who prefer Sennheiser's snug yet cushioned fit. The HD620S ear cups isolate sound better than the wooden Meze ear cups. So that's something to think about if you're going to listen in a quiet office. Sound-wise, the 99 Classics have a fun, engaging tuning with an emphasis on powerful bass. But they lack some of the higher-end detail and control that you get in the lower region from the Sennheisers. So the Sennheiser HD620S compare well with wired closed-back headphones in this class. I can nitpick things here and there, and sonically it does stray a bit from the rest of the HD600 series. But you'll be hard-pressed to find a set of wired closed-back headphones in this price range that sound this open, especially with this amount of texture. If you have any questions about these or any other headphones, reach out to us here at Crutchfield. We're happy to help.